Good morning and welcome back to another episode on the Coin Kings channel. I am your host, Down to Crypto TA. We got a little bit of a pump up to the top side of our channel yesterday. I shared this channel with you yesterday, and that's exactly what we whipped off of, and we're seeing a bit of a pullback. I also shared quite a few levels through here that you can see price action has been very respectful to the levels that we have drawn out in here. I took this long twice. I almost got stopped out right here, but it missed me by a small bit right here. Looking back at this main little level right here, which is where I said forget about that 618, that golden pocket tap. Forget about that. This looks a lot more interesting. We got our drop down. We had this parallel channel through here yesterday, and we got a push out prior to market open. Market open, we got a drop down, and you can see how we double tapped onto this trend line right here. Twice I took the position over here. I did not take the position over here. I actually started to do it again right there. I TP'd out right there, came back. I got stopped out of the rest of the long position that I had, but I reopened here again. And so I've taken, let's say, like a quarter position size out on this right here. As soon as we hit the top side of the channel, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a quarter position size out. If we come down and I get stopped out, and I'll just be looking to re-enter. We do have a pool of liquidity that's in here. Perhaps this liquidity right here around these 2 points right here. This is what I'm going to be watching for today. So I'm going to look for price action to get into the liquidity. It's down here. If we get that, then I will be looking to re-enter on this long position here. But top side of the channel smashed. This was our channel right here. Boom. Another way of taking this trade in here also, well, for one, let me just say that this drop right here, this was the liquidity that we had discussed that we were seeing in the charts yesterday. But this was the main thing for me. I wanted to make sure that price had respect for this level right here, because if not, then we could have easily got into this one, which is why, yeah, I played this this level right here a couple of times. But you could have also done. Remember, I said to you, this is valid. Like, some people were drawing theirs out like this, and this is valid because sometimes you have to take the wick out of it. You want to respect the other wicks, but the larger wick, you can take that out, and so you just off of that line right there. And so we bounced off of that line right there twice. We can't keep tapping it, because if we keep tapping it, then we're bound to break it. And then, like I said, I'm going to be looking for the two levels that I have drawn out on the chart to be tapped into. And if not, that's going to be the first place I'm going to take my attempt from. If that doesn't work and we do take the liquidity from this low, I might consider a scale position. So if we do take this low right here and it looks like it's going to SFP, let's just say it takes the liquidity down here. We see the SFP, and then for some reason market says, nah, gotcha, sucker. I'm going to be looking for price action to drop down into here. This is going to be where the golden pocket is also sitting at too. So the larger golden pocket would be sitting down here. And that's the larger golden pocket from this range. No. Is it? 57.72. No, that's not it. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking for this 1-to-1 though. That's what I'm gonna be looking for. I'm looking for this 1-to-1 to get tapped right here. And remember, 1-to-1 is on a fiat retracement level is this move right here. So I'm just gonna be looking for equality and base my entry around equality here. But you can see I have a larger channel here on the 1 hour time frame. I think I may have also, yeah, I just did this right here, like this. You can draw it where, you're putting this in the triangle. I didn't want to do that just in case we did get the push up, if that's making sense to you. Because if we're breaking up through this, and I really don't like it, but I mean, surely you can draw this into a pennant, which a pennant is a bearish formation. I just didn't want to do it, so I just parallel to park that thing sideways. That's what I did there. Okay. So 1 hour time frame, it looks corrective, which is why I have it in the channel as well. So everything about the chart just looks corrected through here. And you know what? I did not take the short. I thought about it. I thought about it and I said, you know what? I don't want to be taking trades long and short right now. I just want to find a bias and just stick to it. I don't want to take a lot of different setups, but you could have taken that. You could have taken the break off of the channel, especially if you was tuned in, then you would have known to look for a rejection right in here because I discussed that and I said maybe it wicks through it like so like that. But if you didn't do that, there was also a golden pocket tap in here too. That's something else you could have done too. So once you saw that top and tail candle right there, just draw a fib from the high. Let's turn my magnet back on. Just draw a fib from the high to the low, and bam, you're coming in here into the golden pocket. Didn't quite tap it, so uh, it made me think about dang, what's the rapper's name? Anyway, too many. But I love that song. Pluto. I think it's Pluto. Yeah, I love it.
That's my future.
Thank you.
Love that song.
Okay, so yeah, so you kind of missed that. Hold on, let me do something here. All right. So I'm not sure about these levels right through here anymore. I think we've tapped these enough, yesterday. We tapped these enough. And I did post, these levels along with the liquidity and stuff like that. So, but we tapped those enough. It's not a lot of liquidity built within the past 24 hours around the top side right here. It's just the liquidity that's down here. That's really the main thing. And the largest liquidity sitting at the bottom side of where this yellow box is located at here. Right. And then with Ethereum, we had the same situation. I showed you the channel in here yesterday for Ethereum. Price got to push up into the top side of the channel. That was another opportunity you had here to take a short position because we recognized that this was what price action was doing. Bubble, 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 bubble right there. So if we do get a drop down here on Ethereum, like I said, you don't want to keep hitting the trend lines because if you keep tapping into them, then the chances are that you're going to break them. Okay, so that was a play on Ethereum right there for anyone who did map out their charts following the stream yesterday. You had a chance right there with Ethereum. Solana, we did not map anything out on Solana. I didn't really see any structure in here on Solana that was worth me really trying to define. Um, so nope, I didn't do anything over here with Sol, just Ethereum and Bitcoin because they were more closely related. Had a closer relation in terms of how price action was moving. So it ended up just being Ethereum that I mapped out on stream yesterday for the channel and of course Bitcoin here for the descending channel through here. All right. I think the channels are still valid enough to let's just say I was just sharing with you that 1-to-1 in here. Now these two right here I'm going to delete. I don't need this anymore. Actually, yeah, I don't really need that anymore or the pattern anymore through here. So I'm going to do away with that. I can see this through here, but it looks like we're preparing to break that. So I'm not going to put too much focus on this right here. This is after the fact anyway, but I can see this right here. So yeah, this is what I'm going to be looking for just right into here. But if we fell on that, if that 1-to-1 is any relation to the bottom side of this channel right here. I think another bounce could happen from here. Um, we'll see. We'll see when we cross that road. When we cross that road, hopefully we could maintain the higher lows. We did change the market structure on this 15-minute time frame, but the angle is very slow. It's a very slow angle. It looks like it's like a 45 through here. So it's kind of slow. All right, let's see.
You had muted me forever.
Oh, sorry. I will allow you to do it yourself, sir, but just remember what I said. All right, today is Wednesday, and today we have an FOMC meeting at 2 p.m. I don't know if anything is going to come out of that meeting that's going to cause market any sort of volatility. I'm just letting you know that we do have FOMC meeting minutes at 2 p.m. today, and at 8:30. Sir, can you mute that?
There's two?
Can you mute that? And then we have core durable goods at 8:30. That's what happens when you give somebody a mic. That's what happens. Anyway, so that's what we have today. I don't think that we can keep bouncing off of here. We've already done it for relatively clean bounces right here. We've already done it 1, 2 right here already. So I would like to see us maintain the higher lows, but I cannot ensure that at this moment, or that these right here be of any relevance anymore. And this is one that we did not tap to the upside. So if we do break out of the top side of the channel, that's something that I will be looking for. There's at 69,270 here on the Binance chart. That's going to be the numbers. Elsewhere, it's not going to be the number, but you can still follow along. This is how I trade on Blowfin. I like to use Binance chart. I am going to cover a couple of stocks today, and then that is going to conclude the show for today once I get through those. Let's see if there's anything else in here for us to look at with Bitcoin while we're here. And again, this is just a larger channel that I identified on the 1 hour time frame. This is just a larger channel here. And I did an extension on this channel. So I did a 1-to-1 extension on this channel, which is why you see that line right there. So the channel that we're looking at on the 15-minute time frame, that comes from right through here. It's this portion right through here. Actually, no, it's not. It's and I would have to have to put this on a 15-minute time frame to draw that out for you because I can't see it. I can't see it. I don't really see anything through here, but you can draw out this 1 hour channel right here, and you can do an extension on it just with the, a 1. Just do an extension on that by just adding a 2. Just adding a 2. And then that extend it down like this so you can watch for something like that. So I don't really see anything here. This was a little fast break that we had through here. Now this is on a 12-hour time frame that I'm watching this on right here. Um, what I will say about this 12-hour, very possible. I know we're close to some sort of a more sustained bounce. We haven't committed to anything just yet, and you can see how we wick back down below this trend line down through here. But we're close to some sort of a little bit more of a sustained bounce that could possibly get us like up here, which is also why I have it drawn out like this too, because a lot of times we will come when the cloud is that high above head, you can come back in and tap that. So I'm just going to leave this like this, and I'll keep the horizontal right here as my break point, as opposed to me doing that. I'll keep this horizontal instead. And that's just my preference, but it looks like we could potentially. Now, it was above it yesterday, no closure on it within the time. So, yeah, and even still, we could have did one of these numbers right here, like we put in the bullish divergence on the 4 hour the last time we did that. So that could have been the case. Just looking at that, and I take a look at the Bollingers. I just want to see what my lower band is looking like. So we are squeezing through here. Which also give relevance to, me just using the horizontal instead of me using the diagonal. This I just think is better in terms of structure break instead of just a break of a diagonal trend line for squeezing formation. That's better. Right here on the 12, I can see 66, about 66, 142 here, bottom side of the Bollinger. Just want to be careful with that too. Just make sure that we're not actually expanding. If we do see that break below this line this time, and we're dropping down to our standard deviation too, we want to make sure we're not expanding. And you know what an expansion is, because an expansion is when this part right here does that. It turns out. You go from a ball fist, which is what you have right here, to an open palm. So that little thumb comes out. I don't want to see that. If we break through here and we don't see an expansion, that means that the move is just a liquidity grab, and then price action is going to come back in. So that's going to be a good place to look to buy if that's happening. I'm going to monitor my 12-hour time frame for that move. Let me check another thing in here. I just want to see what we're looking like on those. Okay, so yeah, probably wouldn't be anything sustained right now. Looking at that. And then here, this is actually pretty good. I like the two moving averages that are down here. This is more of your midterm and a longer term moving average, both right here. So I like that down here. Gives me a little bit of hope in terms of price action coming down into, if it does, and it's taking liquidity from here, it gives me a little bit more hopium here. And then, of course, we can range in here forever and then see something a little bit more. But I kind of like that idea there, just looking at that. All right. Also highlighted a 6-day fair value gap through here. For when price does manage to push up through here, from a fair value gap traders. I am looking for an 80 something $1,000 move personally. But I have to have places to take some profit from as well. So, yeah, this is 6 day here, and you can see the big gap through here. This is the midway point here of that gap at the top where the writing is located, and you can see the channel that I've been discussing through here for Bitcoin will weave 1-2 creation of this channel, and a tap down there, 1-2 taps on the top side, and while I'm looking for 80, looking for us to get back to the top side of this channel at least. Um, Fib extension, 786 bounce. Also, we highlighted levels through here, which is this was more of the levels that we highlighted from the weekly time frame. That was a sniper bounce right there of one of those levels, and where we've been rejecting at here. Um, and so we're still waiting here as far as the 6 day time frame is concerned for momentum to turn up without bear divs. If I haven't highlighted that to you, if we're looking at the daily time frame, we know we have the bear div through here from these two highs right here from these two pivots right here. We're a bear div in here on the daily time frame there. So we would need to see an impulsive candle through here to invalidate the bearish divergence in here. Otherwise, possible that we do look for some bull divs to come in um, from this daily time frame. That would be the only other thing I could think of. It could come off of this low. I don't think really that it comes from here, but if you under the impression that this liquidity in here gets taken, then yeah, we would have to lean more on it here. But right now, I'm gonna keep an eye on this pivot here, this one, to see if we have any bull divs off of that pivot instead of looking to come all the way back down there in that. For starters, even though I do have a plan for if price action does deviate a little further down through here. Let me see if there was anything else from here. And I don't think that there was anything extra off of this time frame. And let's see over here. Um, I'd already covered the inside range here where you see the green line and the red line here. So we don't have enough development in here in terms of a pattern. I did express to you though that you could count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves to the downside here, which matches up really good if from the daily time frame for the fib extension. It does pretty decent with that, but I was looking at the Bollinger through here today, so it implies to me that the move that happens through here is a buy the dip. It is a buy the dip. It's not financial advice for you to do that. That is what I got from the Bollingers when I was looking at it today. So yeah, I'm just prepared to buy it if we do see that drop down. Whatever. I'll just go ahead and stretch these out. We'll see. Um, I think that we ended up tapping them enough, which is why I didn't care to pull them out, because I think we tapped them enough that I don't know how much of anything is going to be left around the zones, but there it is. I know I'm looking at this though. Um, I think I'll just do that in a blue. No, we haven't tapped those yet. All right, so I'm going to move forward because I'm not going to keep anyone that long today. Taking a look here at Palantir. Palantir did drop into the golden pocket over here. So we're looking at a little bit of a bounce here. You had this trend line down through here. Palantir is getting a little break up from that after tapping into the golden pocket. Palantir is just one of those stocks where it has a lot of respect for golden pockets, fib levels, especially the golden pocket. Palantir absolutely loves that. So you might be a little bit too late to want to jump in on Palantir, but yeah, definitely a nice little bounce right here for Palantir coming off of this double bottom golden pocket. A couple of things that double bottom through here. um, I actually decided to. I did a spot entry on Amazon. I'm looking for a lower entry on Amazon. I'm wanting to get in there, and then I'll end up adding some leverage to it if the price action gets down there. But I went ahead and took a spot position on Amazon. But that's Palantir right now. If for anybody who's interested in it, possibly, yeah, I would be looking somewhere back around in here. Do you get back into above that high? That's going to be the thing, because if you're taking out this high, then you're definitely breaking the neckline through here. They put on. Let me just see this right here. Squeezing through here too. Ooh, ooh. I think Palantir may have already done a neckline retest. If it didn't, then I would look for the neckline to be retested here on this move. So this is a head and shoulders formation, which is why there is a measured move for it. It can always be invalidated. Just to be clear, let me make sure I didn't already draw that in over here for the head and shoulders, and it doesn't look like I did. I just didn't want to double do it in here, but this is what this was. So you can look for and that's why that has been like this on my chart. If you've been here and you've seen it, but you can look for a back test into that neckline right there from this bounce. I encourage you to draw your fibs since, like I said, Palantir tends to have a lot of respect for fibs. And there your golden pocket is up here around that neckline here too for the head and shoulders for Palantir. In fact, let me just leave that in here. Like so, like that. Let's drop down. Okay, so this is Ami's on, and I shared with you the other day, it was bouncing off of the golden pocket that you could consider taking the entry off of this golden pocket. Personally, I really want to get in down here towards the momentum line in here. So if price action gives me that, I will be looking to add some leverage to this position. Right now, it's just a position that I picked up on spot. Because I could see a couple of things through here, and we kept hanging out here with this little broadening through here that we did break to the upside. You can see the small little broadening formation right here, pushing up. What are my thoughts? My thoughts is maybe it can get back into this trend line right here for a back test of the breakdown zone, and look for it to continue back down. So that's what I'll be watching for. And again, if I do get it, I will be looking for a position down here towards the momentum line in here for Amazon. Keep it moving. This is Google. I told you yesterday if you wanted to take a position on Google, I didn't see a reason to not. If you felt like it would reclaim back above the trend line through here, then go ahead and take the position on it. Stop loss went below the low over here, so that is where the stop loss is. It did wick back down off of that entry yesterday, but it did not stop out the position. It's a nice little level right through here for Apple. I mean for Amazon, Alphabet for Google. If now it has not broken through this trend line just yet, so I do want to see it manage to get above here, but I'm not looking for an invalidation of the low. That's number one. I'm not looking for an invalidation of the low. For some reason that it does come down here and it invalidates the low, I think that price action would reclaim rather quickly and come back into the zone. Okay. But I would be looking for price action to get back up into the area right here where we have this resistance to here for Google. So if you are in the Google long position from yesterday, there you have it. You're in a little bit of profit. It was a rough start, but you are in a little bit of profit, keeping it moving. Uh Microsoft, enough said. I mean, we covered this over and over and over again. We're still trying to hold through here, back towards the momentum line through here. Actually, it's the channel line through here for Amazon, and around the gap fill zone, but the momentum line through here, which is just really critical in my opinion. I'm giving myself a little leeway on this position too. So, you have the 786 in here. I really don't want to see Microsoft breaking below the momentum line. Though I really don't want to see that. So right now, this is still good for me. If in the long run, which this could take a lot of time to play out. We already had did the back test on this double bottom formation. We already met the measure move on this double. I'm sorry, double top formation. We already had met the measure move on it. We had already did the back test on it. So obviously, I'm looking for Microsoft to get much higher. Um, Above its highs, even though I stopped it out right in here. I expect I'm looking for a reversal on it from here. If that fails on me, if that fails on me, I really don't have a big interest in it until maybe somewhere back down in here in the twos, the lower 200 dollar range. I know that's a lot, but if you zoom out, it's really not. It's really not a lot if you zoom out. All right, let's see who else in here. Um, Spy yesterday, and a couple of days before also I had discussed with you. Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks now, but I explained to you that you can see like a broadening or a megaphone formation through here. If you do this, now you're not actually losing necessarily losing these lows down through here. You're not really losing these lows down through here, but you've hit it enough times, you keep tapping it, you will end up coming back down here towards the bottom side of this line here, or potentially breaking that. And then if you see this right here, which was a wedge structure for me, which we didn't deviate too far from, we got the gap down over, which is supposed to be an exhaustion gap. Um, yeah, it didn't really do much, but like I said, if you extend this out, then you can see the broadening or the megaphone right through here. You can see that. So that's what I'm going to be watching for if it does come down through here a little bit more. Now on volatility, I shared this with you that VIX was in resistance right here in this zone right here. So I expected for a couple of the stocks, S&P, um, SPY spy to get a little bit of a bounce. Like I said, it's been rather choppy. I said no matter how they do it, it's at resistance. So I'd be looking for the VIX to get a bit of a cool off and see a couple of things start to bounce, which is what we're getting. We identified this little rising formation through here, and we have broken it. I want to see if it comes back up and respects it on the back test and then continues down. You can see the bounce zone in here for the VIX as well through here. Every time it has gotten a bounce through here off of this rising trend line here. So that's something to keep an eye out for with the VIX. USDT dominance here. All right, so we discussed you got the ascending broadening formation, which is typically a bearish formation. I'm usually looking for this thing right here to break down whenever I see it. And it's very common in the crypto space where we see an ascending broadening formation. It's starting to become more common in the stock market also, but it's very common that I see this in crypto very often, which bulls Bulls think that price action is too low when it gets down here to the bottom. Bears say, yeah, it's overpriced, blah, 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 blah. And so you have this tug of war going on, but this tends to break to the downside. You will see higher lows and higher highs. Don't be misled. It does for the majority of the time break down and not up. I've seen Palantir do it, and you might find something else that might do it, but it's very rare. It's like seeing a falling wedge, and I'm not falling wedge, but a rising wedge, and it breaking to the upside. It's rare. It can happen, but it's rare. So in the end case, that's what I would be looking for. I would be looking for USDT dominance to come back down here towards the bottom side of this trend line right here. However, how long it takes, you can also match that out with this horizontal zone of support. We're still holding our little support area in here. It looks a little flaggy right here. Looks a little flaggy, like it looked a little flaggy right here. So, you know, again, if we do push up, I'm only looking for about this midpoint. If we do push up and take this high right here, I'm only looking because we have the opposite scenario that could be happening with Bitcoin. I'm only looking for it to come back into here, which is going to match up with the last two times, like here and here, because it is a pretty decent resistance area right here. We broke through it the first time. Don't get it twisted, but it could stall there, you know. So just something to be aware of there. And I'm going to jump back over to Bitcoin for a little while. Then I'm going to call it a stream. Alrighty, here we are. We came down a bit too fast for this to really be something. So from here, you might want to start looking at short positions. If this is like the 20 SMA, it could be a good short right here to continue down and get into the liquidity down here at the lows. If we're going to take out this in here, which could happen once market opens. Um, Either way that goes. Let's see. Something else I wanted to see through here. Um, Oh yeah, CME played out perfectly for anybody who plays CME. We talked about this gap that was over here on CME. I plotted out this channel through here. It did pretty much what Bitcoin did on the other chart, of course. But we talked about this gap over here, which price action tapped that gap very nicely, very, very, very nicely. And then it got the bounce up, all things, all things. So this has been nice. We still haven't gotten into here. Still haven't got into here, which is something that I'm going to be keeping my eyes out on. This was me just highlighting, okay, this is pre-market. Maybe, and that's a good way of thinking about patterns also. Like maybe pre-market, yeah, it was just, a false move pre-market, and then you come back to the bottom side of your channel, and then you actually get your bounce. But being that we did it and then we fell back through, I was like, yeah. But there you have it. Just looking at this gap in here right now. Don't really see anything else down through here. I did highlight this, but this has already been taken care of when we came back down once again in here. So yeah, I can let this go now because there was this, and then we came back down to it right there, and then we came back down to it right there. So that was this little small common gap. You can see it right there. I was keeping my eyes on that little common gap right there. All right. And let's see, it's come back over here. I'm still trying to figure out, how things work with gaps over on the iShares chart, and I really, yeah, I have no clue. To be honest, I don't think it really cares a whole lot. It really cares a whole lot. Just the three zones that I mentioned to you where price action is getting pinned: 40, 38, and 35. The pin zones. I am looking for that move though. Back up into here. Just a matter of when it happens. That's it. Just a matter of when it happens. All right. I think I pretty much covered what I'm looking for here for Bitcoin. if we do get to push up and to break out of this channel right here to the upside, I'm going to be watching for that 69 to 70. I have a couple of zones that I'm going to be watching. Like I shared, I have that. I have the top side of the channel right here as well on the 1 hour time frame, and what I'm going to be watching here on the 12-hour time frame. All things have been captured. So with that said, I'd like to say thank you for stopping by to hang out with me today. I am your host down the Crypto TA. That was the Coin King who was given the mic. And he's such a kid. He's such a big kid. I love him.
Thank you for watching.
Bye. You can mute now. Anyway, I will come back after the fact, after market, for another little stream. I will be by myself. But I will come back once market opens to see what Bitcoin is looking like when market opens. See if we can't catch something. See if how things are playing out with any of the stuff that I shared with you today. And with that said, peace out, and I love you.